Okay, so when you're doing your notes, make sure that you have your quad family tree with you just to look at and to reference, because I'm going to let you go on a couple problems and see what you can do and think of in terms of what properties are which. So go ahead and make sure that you have that out. And let's go ahead and start on level 2s. It says, given love is a kite where LE is congruent to LO, we've got a couple measurements for the sides. OE is 30, LO is 17, and VS is also 30. And then we've got a couple angle measurements. ELO is 124 and LOV is 96. So we need to find all the angle measurements and exact segment lengths. So let's go ahead and label our picture as much as we know. So it says LE is congruent to LO, so I'm going to mark that in my picture. And then I know it's a kite, so I know a couple things, but we're going to hold off on that right now. So if LE and LO are congruent, we also know that OE is 30. We know that LO is 17. So LO is 17, which also makes LE 17 as well, because they're congruent. And then the last thing that we know VS is also 30. Okay, so those are as much side lengths as we know. So let's go ahead and see if we can figure something out from here, just on the side lengths, and then we'll put in the angles. So looking at this picture, we know that LO is equal to LE. So that makes those the two congruent sides of the kite, which makes these congruent down here. The second thing that you know about a kite is look at your tree, your family tree, and figure out what you know about the diagonals. Okay, hopefully you found that the diagonals are perpendicular and one bisects the other. So the longer one, in this case LV, will bisect the shorter one, EO, so that this is equal to this. So knowing that EO is 30, each half of these is going to be 15. Okay, so I've got a couple side lengths that I still need to find. I still need to find LS, I need to find EV and OV. So if I look at my picture here, I've got two little triangles up top. And if I have two sides of the triangle, so if I'll draw it out here. So I have 15 for the base, here's the right angle, and then 17 is the hypotenuse. So you guessed it, you got to use the old dead guy, the Pythagorean theorem, to figure out that third side. In this case, we're going to be solving for a squared. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you the answer. A is going to be 8. Okay, I'm sure you guys can figure that out. If you can't, let me know. Pause the video, make sure that you can get it, and then if you got questions, let me know. Okay, so that part is 8. Now I've got two other sides I need to figure out. So looking at this bottom half of the kite, you've got this, and I know that SV is 30. And now that I know that one of the other side of the triangle is 15, I've got a triangle that I'll draw off to the side over here. That this is 15, and then this is 30. So I'm going to go ahead and do the Pythagorean theorem to find that last side. So I'm going to get 1,125. And then I'm going to square root that and simplify it because it's not a perfect square. So let's see, what's the largest perfect square that goes in? Let's see. Well, 25 goes in. And that would be 45. Whoops. And then this is 9 and 5. So 3 and 3. So a 3 and a 5 can come out. So that last side is going to be 15 square root 5. Okay, so that's those last sides up here. All right, so those are the side lengths. With kites, you want to know what's perpendicular, what bisects each other, and basically look for triangles, trying to find the side lengths. Okay, okay, the second thing is the angle. So let's talk angles here. I'm going to redraw this picture so it's a little cleaner, so we can see it a little bit better. Bear with my drawing abilities here. Okay. So again, I know this is equal and that's equal. This is equal and this is equal. And I know that ELO is 124. I'll leave my vertices here. LOVE. So ELO. So this whole angle is 124. And LOV is 96. So again, I want you to look at your family tree and you know something about diagonals of a kite. So go ahead and look at that and see if you can find diagonals of a kite in relation to the angles. Okay, so if you found that the diagonals bisect the non-congruent angles or something like that, you're correct. What happens is we said that before LO bisected EO, well then, I'm sorry, LV bisected EO, the segments, but then LV also bisects the angles that it intersects. So it will bisect this one in here into 2 equal, and this one down here into 2 equal. Now they're not necessarily the same, but they're just bisected, they're cut in half. So 124 divided by 2 is 62. So this inside angle in here is 62. And same thing with that one. Okay, so and then we also know that there are perpendicular inside the diagonals meet at right angles. So then that means that this angle left in the triangles up above are going to be, let's see, 28. Okay, so I've got that. Now I've just got one other thing that I need to take care of, and that's those angles down below and basically the bottom half of the kite. So then looking on the left-hand side, I've got this green 96 over here, and I know part of that angle is already 28. So if I take 96 and minus 28, that's going to be 68. And then same thing over here. Because I know angle E is congruent to angle O, that's a property of a kite. That the angles that didn't get bisected, those are the ones that are congruent. And then last but not least, to find these bottom angles, again, I'm going to look for right triangles down here. Or I could look for the whole big triangle altogether, EOV. And I know that I've got two angles, 68 and 68. I can find the rest of it and then just divide it by 2. Either way, for each angle, you're going to get 22. Okay. So it's a lot of piecing things together, but the big key thing here in level 2s is just knowing your properties and being able to apply them. All right, number 2, it says given RUBS is a rhombus. I know I'm very clever with the naming of the shapes. Find all remaining angles of the rhombus. So again, take a look at that rhombus part on your quad family tree, and let's talk about different properties that a rhombus has. All right, first of all, we know rhombus is a parallelogram, so I know opposite sides are parallel, and I also know that opposite sides are congruent. And to be more specific, in a rhombus, opposite sides are every side is congruent. So not only are they parallel, they're also congruent. The other thing that I know about a rhombus is look at the diagonal part of it. What do you know about the diagonals? Well, diagonals in a rhombus, there's a couple things. Diagonals in a rhombus are going to meet at a perpendicular, so they're going to be right angles. The other thing that they're going to do is they're going to bisect their angles. So they're going to create two congruent angles over here. So this one's also going to be 35. And again, angles across from each other are equal. Because if you look here, RUB, that's a triangle and then it's isosceles. So if these two sides are congruent, then the two angles down here are congruent. So you've got a little bit of semester 1 coming back at you. And then again, just to find the rest of it, I'm going to take that right triangle RUB and figure out the angle RBU by taking 180 and subtracting 35 and 35 to get 110. So that's this whole entire angle. But all I want is to find each part of it. So I'm going to take 110 and divide it by 2. So that, because I know diagonals are going to bisect their angles that they intersect, so each side is going to be 55. And that's going to be the same thing for the bottom one down here. Okay. So again, piecing together information from your quadrilateral family tree. So it is so important that you know that and can figure out the differences between the shapes and what properties they have. Okay, one more example. It says given head is a parallelogram, well, should have an M. Find all the remaining angles of a parallelogram. You know what I want you to do? I want you to stop this video and try this yourself and make sure you get it right when you're done. So go ahead and pause it and then press play and I'll show you the answer. All right, and there's your answer. So I used a lot of triangles, a lot of like alternate interiors using that Z that we talked about before because I still have parallel lines here, so I can still like use that Z to find the 23. I can still use that Z to do the 48. I can even go the other way if I use, you know, the other two parallel lines. You can also do that. So if HD and EA, I can use the Z going this way and the Z going the other way. Okay, so a couple different ways that you can go about doing these. Look for triangles, know your properties of parallelograms, and all the other shapes.